Today, I want to talk to you about the recovery effort of the California condor. So, your book has a little bit of information, not very much, about the California condor, but basically, this is a species that has about a 10-foot wingspan that is all the way from the Pleistocene era. So, it's been around for 10,000 years. Really lived fully with some really old species that have all since died off. So this is a really cool species. And as people came across North America, they slowly edged out the condor to where it was only left pretty much in California to like the very top of Canada, just above California, down to like Baja California. So this species had gotten down to only 22 birds in 1982, and a researcher from San Diego Zoo Safari Park actually got a grant to go out. He left his family, his daughter and his wife, and he went out and took basically dog crates, a radio, a gun, and some food, and a shovel. And he would hike way up into the mountains where these are. So these are way off of cliffs of mountains, is where they live. And he would hike all the way out there, and he would dig a big, giant hole in the ground, huge, massive hole. And he would put the dog crate in there, and he would go down into the hole. And then he would take his gun and he would go and shoot an animal. So he would find some animal to shoot, and he would pull it over the top of the hole. And then he would live inside the hole for a long time until a California condor came by. And California condors are scavengers of dead animals. So he would wait till a condor showed up and landed on the dead animal. And of course, in the meantime, there's coyotes and every other type of animal coming up and eating this carcass. And he's underneath the hole, underneath the dead carcass, living in there until a condor would come up. And then he would jump out of the hole, grab the condor, and put him in the dog crate. Then he would hike all the way down the mountain and go back to the zoo until he had gathered the last 22 in the wild. Totally cool, crazy story about how they were gathered up from the wild. Then from there, they were genetically tested, and they figured out ways to help protect this species. So now there's over 400 of them in the wild, which is amazing, and not 22 anymore. So they are considered critically endangered, but a lot of efforts have been made to save this bird. So threats to the California condor is that they eat toxins out in the wild. Different poisons, pesticides have killed their eggs because they go and eat dead animals, and if those animals died of some kind of toxin or had it, then they eat that. Also lead, because even if they aren't shot with lead bullets, they often, because they're an animal that's a foraging animal, they're used to eating bone fragments. So they'll pick up tiny pieces of trash, bottle caps, glass shards, broken glass, and they actually eat that as a normal part of their diet, because birds will actually, because they eat such hard material, they'll actually eat those types of things to help grind up the food in their stomach. And these types of micro trash were not around 10,000 years ago, and they actually will seep toxins into the bird and kill them. Also, different power lines and things like that are causing the death of these birds. The recovery program is at a few different zoos: the San Diego Zoo, Safari Park, Los Angeles Zoo, and Santa Barbara Zoo. And they are re-releasing constantly. The condors are numbered, and the condors actually have a radio tracker on them. And if you are part of this, at different points in the years, in my courses, we will learn how to use these radio telemetry trackers to track desert tortoises. So you'll learn how those are used. And they've had great results using puppets and things like that as parents to help hatch the eggs and have gotten us up to 400 California condors. So I hope to see one in the wild someday. I hope all you guys do. But in the meantime, if you have time, please come with me to San Diego Zoo Safari Park and see the wonderful conservation efforts that they're doing there and how they're breeding this species to go back out into the wild.